Ambiagina Abi as we progress with this broadcast. Well, a new study shows that the number of startups in Africa has been domiciled between three major countries, that is Nigeria, Kenya and South Africa. We now want to bring in an analyst as well as a legal mind, and this is Mr. Chris Waithaka, who is an advocate of the High Court and also specializes in matters to do with intellectual property rights. Many thanks for joining us, Mr. Waithaka, on the program.
Thank you, Ambiagina, for having me.
All right. And interesting that we see this very important trend, a number of startups coming out in the Horn of Africa, and of course, majority of these startups will be playing an important role when it comes to creating jobs, at the same time boosting the economy. But at the back end of all this, Mr. Waithaka, is the question around, are they properly registered? What has been the experience like when it comes to dealing with startup companies, and generally, what is the narrative out there when it comes to young entrepreneurs considering legalizing their businesses?
Thank you, Abi. In terms of how you would register a startup, and in this particular case, would like to refer it to as an invention, is by patenting it. And by patenting it is that there are certain qualifications that an invention should satisfy when you want to register it, so that you exclude everybody else from taking advantage of your innovation. So the place where you register is an institute called the Kenya Industrial Property Institute. Essentially, it is the sort of body that is mandated to register any form of intellectual property in Kenya. Now, in this particular case, looking at an invention of a startup is knowing what is required of you. And essentially, for an invention, there is the element of novelty, is that it has to be an original idea, and it must provide a solution to a specific problem. There are certain things that will be looked at, is that it involves an inventive step and it is industrially applicable. Now, if it is an inventive step, it means that if you are to show the moment somebody realizes that you've come up with this idea or this invention, it should not be obvious that another person could have done it or is doing it. So that, with regard to the inventive step, is that novelty has to be there. Then industrially applicable means that it applies to a certain industry, be it agriculture, be it ICT, which is very common, especially in this side of the Sahara. It is how, where then does it fall after that? Then when you go to the Kenya Industrial Property Institute, allow me to call it KIPI, there are certain steps that you will undertake after you make that application. There has to be a step where it will be published. There is a journal that is published for this sort of intellectual property. Then there is examination. In short, it has to be put through a process where it is examined to determine whether it fits the bill in terms of it being an invention and satisfies the various issues I have said previously. It's actually applicable, and it has an inventive step. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And looking at this very important aspect, I'd like you to also share with us what are some of the benefits of having a patent, and when can you start deriving rights from it?
Okay, so the benefits of having a patent is that what you have done is you have excluded everybody else. If another person,
All right. We seem to have lost Mr. Waithaka. I understand he's back now. Please proceed.
Sorry. In terms of what patenting does is that it protects you from every other person who might be trying to do or having a similar idea to what you're doing. Essentially, is that you'll be the first person to do it. And the beauty of it is that you'll be able to say, nobody else can do what I'm doing, and then you have protection under the law, and you can actually exercise your rights as the inventor by going to court and saying and indicating that this was the brainchild of my mind, and I would